It looks like we are live. Hey, happy
Woo!
holidays, everybody. Happy
Hey,
holidays, team.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? I'm feeling a little blurry.
what day is it?
I'm gonna try to. Yeah, really, what day is it?
We're in that weird time where like days aren't real and like just everyone's kind of waiting for
forgotten
2024.
days.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim is blurry. The days aren't real. All of it, right?
Yeah, I went blurry about 2 seconds before we went live. Looks like I'm clearing up here a little bit. But welcome everybody. Let's introduce everybody because we don't usually have 4 of us or even 2 of us online for our self-publishing insiders episodes. So we'll go clockwise. Mark Leslie Lefebvre is our director of business development. I'm Jim Azevedo. I am the corporate communications guy at Draft2Digital. On the bottom right, we've got Lexi Green, who manages our social media outreach. Hello, Lexi. And then, of course, on the bottom left, we've got Mr. Nick Thacker, who is our VP of Author Success. Hello, everybody. And thanks to all of our visitors out here for joining us once again. So today we're going to give kind of a roundup, a review of 2023, if you will. And I don't know about all of you out there and to my team. When I started putting together the review of 2023, it's like, what? Really? Didn't we just do 2022 like 2 weeks ago? It feels bizarre. I mean, we have been working our tails off since the acquisition, but it's all good things. All good things.
Honestly,
shall we jump into it?
Yeah, you say it feels like it's been so quick, but at the same time, when you brought up some of the things, like we'll get into it, but when you bring up some of the things we did at the beginning of the year, that feels like 3 years ago. Like it feels like there's just been so much going on.
Right. And as I was putting that list together, I mean, you all should feel proud as, Draft2Digital employees and team members, and all of you authors out there should feel proud as well, because as I was going through the list, not getting ready for this episode, but also I'm going to be putting together a year review blog post. But what was really eye-opening to me is that if you look at Draft2Digital's mission of improving the lives of authors, to helping our authors take their writing hobbies and turn that into full-time careers, every step that we took and every accomplishment that we achieved this year is right in line with that. And so it's just, give yourselves a pat on the back, because that's our mission. That's what we're going to continue to do, and we'll never stop doing for all of you. So I was telling the guys before we joined this call that we have several achievements that we made this year. So I decided to kind of break those down into different categories. I thought maybe we could start by talking about distribution. That's kind of what we do here. This year, we brought on 2 distribution partners to help you go even wider. We brought on Gardeners, and we brought on Palace Marketplace. Now, the Gardeners partnership helps us reach retailers in the UK and throughout Europe, and it goes to hundreds and hundreds of retailers out there across Europe. But what's really interesting to me is Palace Marketplace. Palace Marketplace is operated and managed by the Digital Public Library of America. It's based here in the US, so we're talking about US libraries and library systems, but over 400 libraries and library systems are part of the Palace Marketplace reach. What do you guys think about that? When we signed them out, I'm almost like, yes, this is really, really cool. What do you think? Any feedback on that?
I'm a huge fan of libraries and getting my books into libraries. One of the things I do in my author newsletter is constantly say, you want to read any of my books for free, you can ask for them via, I mean, I'm into libraries through Draft2Digital to Overdrive to Hoopla to Baker and Taylor to Biblioteca, Odillo, Palace Marketplace. And It just means that virtually any library system is going to access at least one of these wholesalers. BorrowBox as well, which is not in North America, but it's available in Ireland and the UK and Australia and New Zealand. But basically, a reader could get my books from virtually any library almost in the world at this point. And Palace Marketplace is a great new venture that we're delighted to be a part of. Again, just another way for people to get access to your books, which is really just part of what we're trying to do for our authors.
Yeah. We should also mention the Palace app, which is available to consumers as well. So I'm guessing I'm not the only person who's got like 6 or 7 different reading apps on my phone.
Yeah.
You know, when I check libraries, if I can't find it on Libby and I can't find it on Hoopla, I can go to Palace Marketplace now and see if it's there, since it kind of covers everything, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, no, I think that we've, as a company, been very clear that we're very pro-library, and I think that authors, it's especially starting out, authors don't consider how much libraries do for them. And honestly, I feel like Palace Marketplace is just another opportunity to work with that ecosystem, because I think that the more libraries succeed, the more authors can succeed through them.
Yeah, and I'll admit it, like I am one of those dorks who will download a book from my library app and then go buy it if I like it, if I love it. It's something, because I read a lot of nonfiction, so a lot of times I'll listen to the audiobook or read the ebook, but then I want to have that hard copy on my desk so I can refer back to it and write my notes in it and do all those sorts of things too. If you guys don't mind, I want to talk about promotions. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, Mark?
Author promotions? Nah, we don't like talking about that at all. Yeah, of course, hit us.
No, we were going to give you a promotion, Mark, but I guess not. I guess you don't want to.
Right. That's exactly right. One thing that I mentioned to my team here before we got on this call is that at 2 conferences I attended this year, the NINC conference in Florida and then 20 Books in Vegas, one thing that really stood out to me is that a lot of our authors and small indie presses didn't realize we have a dedicated promotions team here at Draft2Digital, and that you can actually reach out to our promotions team if you're looking for ways to increase your visibility at the libraries and at retailers. So I want to talk about some of that. So Mark, before we jumped on the call here, we were talking about ways that authors can get in touch with you and Megan. Could we talk about the promotions form that we have available for all of our authors and what that is and how authors can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can always email customer service team and ask for a link to the promo form. I couldn't find the short link for the form. I know Lexi probably knows it off by heart, but posted the Draft2Digital promotions form right there. This is where you can tell us about your books. You just say, hey, I publish books using your platform to get to these retailers, libraries, whatever it is, and just tell us. And then the genres you pick. And then what happens is Megan Spann, who works full-time doing nothing other than looking for ways to, promote authors to our various partners. That's basically her full-time role, is just trying to push DDD author titles to retailers, to libraries, getting them into promos as well. So not just saying, hey, here's some new titles that are coming out in these genres we think you should look at, but also then taking from that list and emailing authors and saying, hey, we're doing a promo with Kobo or Barnes & Noble or Apple, or we're doing a promo with Overdrive or Biblioteca or Hoopla or whatever, and we'd like you to participate. Or there's a Smashwords promo coming up, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so what she does is she sends that invite out to authors. Authors fill out the forms. Then we take that form, we export it into the format that the retailer wants it in. And then with many of the promos, they then curate from, if we send them 500 titles, maybe they take 50 or they take 100 or whatever. And in some cases, especially the libraries, when it's a library promo, they usually pretty much take everything, which is fantastic. Those are my favorite promos, because usually when you submit to a library promo, unless you hear otherwise, you're in it.
Yeah. And this just in, I got some, speaking of Megan, I've got some figures here about the number of promotions that Draft2Digital sent. and the submissions received from our authors and on how they did. So Megan sent out over 148,000 emails to our authors telling them about these promotions with our retail and library partners. She received, or Draft2Digital received, over 26,000 submissions from our authors. They went after 88 promotions during the year. So that's promotions from retailers and library systems. And of those 26,000 submissions that we received, over 18,000 were accepted into these retail and library promotions. I think that's huge. That's a huge amount of selections from those submissions. So if you guys weren't familiar with that promotions form, get on that. You want to know about these retail and library promotions that are coming up throughout the year. I have a suspicion that Mark and Megan are going to do even more in 2024.
Oh yeah, lots of plans. Jim, is it okay if I bring up the question from Ace that talks about promotions?
Please.
Since we're on that topic right now. So Ace Adams asks, says, good topic. I need to know if I need to change my prices for the promotion, or will the retailer change the price? And then the second part of that question or comment is, I had a Kobo Boxing Day promo, but didn't see it on the Kobo site. So in answer to the first question, Ace, is usually in the requirements for the promo. Often, for example, I know end of year overdrive sale said just submit and tell us what discount you want them to offer it at, and it's taken care of for you. Usually with a promo, and I can't remember which Kobo promo you're in, it will tell you if you need to do a price drop. And then if you are accepted in the promo, do the price drop, which you can easily do in the scheduling tool with Draft2Digital. You can say, start it on the 24th of December and run it to January 1st or whatever the case may be. So it just depends on the promo itself. If it's a buy one, get one free sort of promo, you're just offering to have your book in the promo and there's nothing needed for you. But if you do get accepted in a promo, particularly if it's a price drop promo, you do need to go in and schedule that in advance. And then the question about the Kobo Boxing Day promo. Now, one of the challenges with these promos is Kobo is accepting hundreds of titles from us and from all the major publishers. And you may be in a promo with 500 or 800 other titles. So I do often encourage authors, if you're in a promo that requires a price drop, you may want to further support the promo, not only by pushing that out to your newsletter people, like on your author newsletter, but I also like to sometimes book a Fussy Librarian or a Written Word Media Bargain Booksy or some other sort of promo as the promo begins, because getting some traction and getting some unit sales on your title in that list of 800 may help those titles swim to the top and filter up. And it's just kind of like stirring that martini properly before you go out there. See, I'm still in the holiday spirit here.
Or shaking it.
Shaking, you could shake it. That's true.
Yeah,
I honestly,
I want to mention
it's been. Oh, I just want to say, like, you and Megan have done remarkable work when it comes to promotions these past. Has it been like 2 years since we've really kind of kicked that off?
Yeah, Megan does all the really hard work. She's doing all the heavy
Megan
lifting on
is
that. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So
one thing I wanted to mention about Megan too is that when it comes to the promo form, I want the authors to know out there that you don't have to sit back and wait for Megan or Mark to reach you for any upcoming promotions. Like if you're doing something really, really cool that you think our promotions team should know about, that maybe they could share with the retailers and libraries out there, let us know proactively. You can email us. Is it promotions@draft2digital.com, Mark?
Yeah, email. You can also use the form. The form itself says, hey, I've got a book coming up. I want you to know about it. We do share that with the retailers. Looking for,
if you got
hey, so-and-so's got this promo coming up in January. Mr. Mrs. Retailer, maybe you want to check out these titles and add them in some other promotions as well. And they love hearing about that.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you've got a pre-order that's just doing really, really well, or you're doing an anthology or a box set with some fellow authors out there, let us know about that stuff. And one thing Megan told me, she said, err on the side of giving us too much detail. We want all the detail that you can give us, because that makes it easier for Megan and Mark to get those details to the merchandising managers at the retailers and at the libraries. And Lexi, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. It's just, yeah, like mentioning the oh, you have I've had particularly high pre-orders, like that's leverage that gets vendors interested. And honestly, what's the worst thing a store can say is, no, we're not gonna jump on this promotion. There's no real harm in getting that information out there. It's a good way to self-promote. So
Sure, absolutely. Shall we jump into bestseller lists? Let's do that. Everybody likes bestseller lists,
especially when they're on the bestseller lists. How do you get on a bestseller list around these parts?
How do you get on the bestseller list? You know, can we just say that bestseller lists within the last several years haven't been that kind to indie authors? The ebook bestseller list at the New York Times went away, and then the USA Today bestseller list went away, and then the Wall Street Journal's bestseller list went away. So Mark and his team had the idea of, well, let's combine Draft2Digital sales and Smashwords sales, and we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to have our own comprehensive bestseller list that doesn't just look at the Smashwords store, right? It goes beyond and out there to aggregate how books are selling across our global network of retailers and libraries out there. So can we talk about that a bit more, Mark, about what we're doing at the Draft2Digital blog?
Yeah, sure. So in our partnership with freshfiction.com, we started sending them a curated fiction-only bestseller list so that they had been posting at freshfiction.com for fiction readers, you know, the top sellers, with a link back to the Smashwords store where authors earn more margin. And well, I mean, you earn more margin when you sell directly, but this is the retailer where you earn the most margin from all of them. But what we decided to do is shortly after that, and just started early in 2023, was posting a weekly top 25 bestseller list. Now, it's kind of unique. All bestseller lists are curated. There are, I know, like New York Times bestseller list will take titles off that are part of a September reads for universities and colleges and stuff like that. They kind of manually extract and manipulate the bestseller lists. We do manually.
Everyone's kind of got their own secret sauce.
Yeah, we're pulling sales from all the ebook platforms that we distribute to, including the Smashwords store, from both Smashwords distribution and Draft2Digital distribution. So all those sales that come in include all the library platforms. They also actually include DDD Print sales, because we have the data for DDD Print sales. And they also include, you know, through our partnership with Apple Audio, any of those audiobook sales. So all of those count towards your bestseller status. And it's on a title basis. And what we do is part of the curation is, in order to make sure, one of the things that always frustrated me as an author looking at bestseller lists is go, oh, look, Suzanne Collins, all 5 books in her series are on the bestseller list. So she's hogging 5 spots. And then there's only 20 other authors, not 24 other authors who can be on the list. So we take the top selling book from any single author, and we remove any of their other ones off the list to make sure that we can actually have 25 different authors on each of those lists. Now, you can appear on the top seller by revenue and top seller by unit, because that's 2 different things. If you have a BookBub for a 99-cent book deal, chances are you're going to hit the unit sales, but maybe not make as much revenue. So as you know, in the Wide for the Win group, always say bank over rank. We do list them by revenue, then by units, and we do fiction units revenue, fiction units and revenue, and nonfiction units and revenue. So there's really a better possibility for more indie authors than ever to be included on these lists. And then we even link to, on the Smashwords store, because it's easy enough for us to do, is we link to the book in the Smashwords store, but we also link to the series page on the Smashwords store. And all this list is meant to do is spotlight as many different authors as we can, but also give you an opportunity for bragging rights. You know, taking that little logo that we post on the blog every week, that we post every Tuesday, and saying, you know, you just take a little sticker and throw it up and say, hey, thanks, readers, for getting me onto the Smashwords bestseller list.
Yeah, I love that. And it's worth mentioning, too, that from the Smashwords store, we're also sending our bestseller list to Locus Magazine for science fiction and fantasy. We're sending our fiction also to Publishers Weekly every month. We're sending it to Indie Tale Magazine as well. And you mentioned Fresh Fiction. It's also going out to Fresh Fiction.
We want the authors to succeed at Draft2Digital. If you're going to do well, and if you're going to put in that work, we want people to see your success. So.
Absolutely, we do. And we want the entire publishing industry to know that indie authors are not only hitting the bestseller lists, they're climbing these bestseller lists, and they're staying on these bestseller lists. As a case in point, so you all know that the USA Today bestseller list went away, but did you know that the USA Today bestseller list has come back and it is currently in place? And did you know that we are reporting sales data from the Smashwords store to USA Today again? So indie authors are going to start appearing, if they haven't already, on that USA Today list. And I'm just going to go out and say it. It's a worst kept secret that Smashwords store also reports sales to the New York Times. I said it. Yeah. Maybe I'll get in trouble for that. Hopefully not. All right. Moving right along. Coupons, Smashwords coupons. So the Smashwords authors have been using coupons since 2008, 2009. But Draft2Digital authors have been given the tool since the merger to use Smashwords coupons beginning in, when was it? Was it February or March of this year? Pretty early in the year, I believe it was.
Don't ask me. I'm always an alpha user, so I always get access to it just before the rest of the public, so I can break things early.
Show off.
Yeah, like Lexi alluded earlier, it's been a little busy since the integration of Draft2Digital and Smashwords, and time has just been clicking by. But I also think that's worth noticing or noting as well, Smashwords coupons, because that is what enabled Draft2Digital authors to take place or to take part in Smashwords annual store sales, including the Smashwords end of year sale, which is going on as we speak. It ends on January 1st. There's also the July summer winter sale that takes place the entire month of July. And then there's the read an ebook sale that takes place, I think it's either the first or second week of March every year. These sales, especially since Draft2Digital authors have been able to enlist their books in the Smashwords sales, these sales have been getting bigger and bigger and breaking previous records. And did y'all know that Smashwords, the last time I checked the numbers, Smashwords was on track to complete its 7th consecutive year of sales growth. So, right, give yourselves a round of applause. If you don't have your books in the Smashwords store yet, get your book in the Smashwords store. And if you are taking part in the Smashwords end of year sale, one thing I want you to realize is that usually the final days of any of these sales are really, really strong sales days. So it's not over yet. Now would be a really good time to encourage your readers to load up on books by their favorite authors, including yourselves.
Yeah, when these sales go on, we see a lot of authors tagging us and promoting their own stuff. And the authors that go out of their way to self-promote are the authors that see the biggest rewards in these particular sales. And these sales are so like I know that a lot of sales I make on Smashwords come through in these sales specifically every year. So,
and Megan did a special list of curated titles from the list, because again, there's thousands and thousands of titles. She curated by 8 different categories, invited authors to fill out this form, curated them to a special landing page of just fantasy or just different styles of genre, and then emailed that list back to the author saying, here you go. There's only a single page of about 30, 40 titles on it, so that they could help each other out and share that across. So I imagine that the authors, like Lexi says, who participate and push this out to their audiences are helping themselves, but they're also helping, you know, their readers who may have already read all their books discover other great authors whose books are at a discount, so people can load up and get more great reading in.
Yeah, I love it when authors aren't just promoting their own books, but they're promoting other authors who they believe that their readers would enjoy as well. There's a lot of cross promotion going on.
Absolutely, it's really important for authors to realize that we're not necessarily in competition with one another. It's when readers are in a reading ecosystem, it's benefiting all the authors involved. It's important to not treat ourselves like competition. We are a community, and that's important.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. I've left Nick over in a corner for too long now. Let's shift gears and talk about some tools. Pretty big news earlier this year. Number one, we acquired SelfPUB book covers and put Nick in charge of it. Not only in charge of SelfPUB book covers, but in charge of a new division here at Draft2Digital called Author Success. Nick, tell us a little bit more about what Author Success is, what it entails, some plans, like the plans that you're able to share, that sort of thing. Because based on what I know, I'm really excited about it.
And I think authors should be excited about it. I mean, I was honored to be asked to run the department, but it's also terrifying because it represents a brand new direction for Draft2Digital. We're not abandoning anything that we've done, and of course, my dogs decide to start losing their mind when I start talking. Sorry if anyone can hear that, but hopefully my voice is louder. We're not abandoning anything that we've done in the past, right? That's the first and most important thing to say. We're still Draft2Digital, will be, but we're at this crossroads in the indie author community, I believe, in this industry that a lot of us, especially here, have seen literally birth and then grow into this kind of adolescent industry where we've got resource providers and service providers doing good for the indie community and sometimes not so good. And what we recognized, the leadership team, Draft2Digital, and we recognized that authors need a place they can trust to get some of these services that they have to have, like a book cover, like email, of course, the distribution, which is what we've already done. And there really is no effective and efficient way to do that, without charging a small amount of money up front. And so this is a different thing that we're doing. We're offering services to authors that will cost money up front to buy a book cover, buy it up front. That's really the reason this is under a different department, because Draft2Digital doesn't take money up front normally, right? So that's really the separation, but it's the same company. It's the same people. I mean, I'm at Draft2Digital and have been here, and so now I'm running this. But in an adolescent indie author community industry where people you trust all of a sudden can't be trusted for whatever reason, or services come and go, we wanted a mainstay, wanted a force for good for authors. And that's what Author Success really is. It's a name. Chris came up with that name, our CEO, and there's really nothing else to it. It's called Author Success because we are still committed to the success of the author first and foremost. So, for example, and I'll shut up after this, SelfPUB book covers we hired. It was a good situation, and it's a great company that's got 10 years, over a decade of history of success, and we're going to do some changes to it. It's an older website that needs some duct tape, for better or worse, for lack of a better term, and we're going to do things with it that are really, really cool. But the core purpose of that company is to offer book covers to authors in an ethical, efficient, and affordable way. So these are mostly sub $100 book covers, which is about as cheap as you can get. And then we also have Author Email right now, which is a company I built from the ground up. It is an email service provider, ESP as we call it. And it's the cheapest one on the market because we don't believe authors need a full-fledged customer relations management tool like MailChimp. We just need to be able to send emails to our readers, and it should be affordable, ethical, and we'll be able to offer that. And it's a rock solid system. So that's what Author Success is. It's going to become more. Hopefully when we acquire other small companies like Barnes & Noble and Kobo and the United States government and everything, we just own it all. And I'm just kidding. But we can become big. We can do more the more that we have these types of services wrapped into what Draft2Digital always was. So I hope that makes sense. But that's kind of the goal with it, is to offer these things ethically and affordably, because authors need certain things. They can't publish a book without a book cover. And so we want to give that to them the best way possible.
One thing I was really pleased about, or pleased to see, when I first started kind of going through the SelfPUB book covers, and I knew the founders, way before this whole deal took place. But it was neat to kind of cycle through all the different artists out there and realize, like, oh, I know that person, and I know that person. I've seen this person's name, and I've seen these different designs out there. There are a lot of accomplished book cover designers already on the site that had been there for years and years.
Yeah, it's a marketplace, and we're not planning on changing that. I mean, the website will change, and structure needs to change so that we can secure it better and things like that. But the unique selling proposition in business speak of that website, of what we now call SelfPUB book covers, is it's a marketplace where artists can connect with authors and sell their designs, and authors can acquire book cover designs for a great price. But it's also right now, it's really cool. An author can go and purchase a pre-made book cover, and they can edit their own text. So they can put their own author name, they can put their own book title. Once they purchase the cover, it's theirs forever. It's unique to them. No one else can own that. They can change that title and author name as many times as they want for free. They can download it every single time and re-upload if they want to change their pen name, for example. So it is a really cool marketplace in that way. And like I said, I keep saying, we're planning on making changes to it to make it better and more usable across the board, but we don't want to change those core functions of it.
Is it pretty easy for an artist to sign up to become listed at the marketplace?
It is, yeah. You can go to the website right now, selfpubbookcovers.com. There's a login up top for authors and artists, and you just click whichever one you want to become, or both, and go through the process. There's some verbiage on there you wade through and get through the terms of service and all that, but it's nothing you haven't seen before. As an artist, we're just making sure you're actually designing your work, and not ripping it off and things like that. But it's very simple, and you can start uploading immediately. We vet everything manually, so there's a human vetter, is actually his title, and he will go through. So when you upload the book cover, there's a delay before your book cover becomes available in the marketplace. But again, that's just to ensure that we've got a good quality product for authors, that they don't have to worry about, the stock photos were legally acquired, things like that.
Cool. Yeah, I like that title of human vetter. I'm going to ask for that to be my new title going forward here.
Human vetter. I really wish I hired somebody named Eddie, but it didn't work out.
Eddie the human vetter. That's right.
Eddie Vetter. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
That came to mind too. We might be dads.
That's wow. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to hear some bad jokes, some bad dad jokes, come to Draft2Digital. We've got you covered. Okay. So under the topic of new tools, I think it's worth mentioning at least that this year, it seems like it was years ago, but this year, DDD Print went live. It came out of beta. DDD Print is now open for everybody. Who wants to talk about some of that process? Because this was all rolling way before the acquisition with Smashwords happened. So
I'll gladly jump into this one for a little, just because I started before social media. I started on our support team, so I was very accustomed to supporting authors through what was kind of a really long open beta for Draft2Digital's print side. It was always a thing that we knew was going to be big. We knew there was a lot of demand for it, but we also understood that we needed it to be up to our standards, our Draft2Digital standards. So in doing so, we worked with partners, we changed partners, we worked on what was going to benefit our authors and what we could offer that was going to be a consistent, workable product. And honestly, since we've now rolled it out to everyone, it's on all accounts that start with Draft2Digital. It's on all accounts that have been with Draft2Digital. We're seeing more and more authors' books come in, authors that don't necessarily want to work with some of the other print options on the market, authors that want print that uses our support team, that has the backing of Draft2Digital, so that you know that you have someone you can trust that is going to shepherd your print book into the world. And I think that that's kind of one of the big selling points, and it's always been a big selling point for DDD Print. So it's been wonderful to see authors just en masse take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It actually is encouraging me now that Draft2Digital, that DDD Print is ready for prime time, that it's encouraging me, like, I want to finish my book now because I want a print copy of it. I've been saying that for about 10 years. But now, this year, I'm saying it here publicly, I am going to publish that book in 2020.
You can get a cover easily.
Do it.
Get it into print easily. All good.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it,
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this, but you know, it was 10 years. It wasn't. It was like 12, 13 years ago. I think my first book was published, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, I was always going to go the self-publishing route because I didn't like querying, I didn't like the idea of that. But I remember having to, I mean, literally use probably a dozen different tools and services to get that book to me in my hands. You know, it was InDesign, heaven forbid. I mean, I can't imagine that these days. It was InDesign to design the stupid thing, Photoshop for the cover. I worked with a designer, you know, and there was a whole different tool set with that. And then trying to get a quote unquote real book printed and bound and shipped to me was a whole other thing. And I just can't believe how easy it is. I mean, I can upload a Word file and be done in an afternoon or less if you're used to the system that Draft2Digital. I know I'm an old fanboy. I'm a company man at this point, but it really is neat that we've got the services that authors need. It doesn't cost them money. I mean, you don't have to pay to use that stuff. It costs to print something, obviously, but it's pretty remarkable that where we are in this industry.
It is.
Just want to double check, Nick. Is one of your dogs chewing on your microphone? Because you're getting a little bit of feedback there.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That wasn't just me. Thank you.
Just to double check your settings on that one, just in case. We could hear you, but it came with a little bit of. We're getting a lot more. Running away.
A lot more. Maybe mute, Nick.
Yeah, let's.
That was it. Okay.
You know what, Nick's busy opening a portal to the underworlds or whatever that sound was.
Right.
But we'll power through it.
We'll let
working hard to find the best services for authors.
As usual for these Self-Publishing Insiders episodes, whenever they start, I'm always like, okay, you know, are we going to be able to fill up the time? And then, boop, I blink, and then we've got 10 minutes left.
Yeah,
so,
how did that happen?
I know. So let's talk about some accomplishments that are some milestones, I should say, that we announced this year. One of them was 1 million books.
1 million books.
Did you hear the news? That combined, Smashwords and Draft2Digital have released over 1 million books.
And I believe that does make us the largest collection of wide indie authors on the internet. I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that. So it's been wonderful seeing the collection or the community of authors using Draft2Digital and Smashwords grow so much in the past years that this really does feel like an achievement for everyone involved. The authors, us, it's been great.
I have a commemorative mug, and I'm not, well, those of you who are watching can see this mug, but those of you on the podcast won't be able to see it. But it's a commemorative mug from Smashwords. Pretty cool, huh? But we made this mug back in, I want to say, it was 2011, because I had just joined the Smashwords team then, commemorating the release of the 80,000th book. And now we've reached over 1 million. This is not us saying, woohoo, look at us, look at Draft2Digital, look at Smashwords. We wouldn't be here without you, authors. So thank you so much for your continued support and trust of your babies with all of us here. We want to help you get your books out into the world. All right. Mark, one thing I wanted to mention here, I have a little note. Oh, should we mention the indie authors earnings survey here? Can we take a minute to talk about that? Are you comfortable talking about that? I know we didn't do it.
Yeah, I just don't have the data in front of me. So, but I do have other stats in front of me that I can share. I'm just gathering sort of, it's not quite end of year because we don't have December sales in yet from all the platforms. Obviously, December's not over. Okay. But I was looking at the top sellers, and no surprise, of the top 10 categories, whether you sort it by units or revenue, romance is 8 of the top categories. No surprise there. We'll dig in further detail in the new year, but action and adventure, fiction, action and adventure is in number 7, number 8, and women's fiction. And then fantasy is in one of the ones in place of women's fiction when you sort by revenue rather than by units. So just to give you guys a feel for, well, nothing much has changed in the fact that romance rules the world.
Yeah, but it is good to see other genres still peeking into the top 10, and there's still certainly that's the obviously we have so many romance books, like there are just so many in our library, but that doesn't mean that there aren't books still seeing success in other genres, and that's really good to see as well.
Yeah,
you don't have to write romance, I promise.
Yeah.
Good points. Good points. And not to mention, if you're writing, say, contemporary romance, you're playing against or with so many other authors in that space. Whereas if you're writing mysteries or thrillers or in a different subcategory or a different genre, then you might find your niche and be able to hit that bestseller list a little bit easier. All right, I need to look at some of these questions here. There are several. Oh, I'm going to bring up this question from Gene Jacobson, who's asking, can I do a large print book?
So you can. For DDD Print, you can submit your own pre-formatted large print PDF. What we cannot currently do is we do not auto-generate, or we do not create large print files from your Word document. That is something that we certainly have been in talks about, and certainly something we want to be doing in the future. But yeah, for now, if you can create your own PDF that is large print, you can certainly submit that to DDD Print.
But I strongly advise email our support team and say, I would really love if you made those awesome templates for me to allow me to get my own large print books, because I know it's on the radar, and your requests, not to us here live, but emailing to support@draft2digital.com gives them a way to track how many authors want that, and that elevates our ability to get that to the forefront of the long list of development plans we have.
I just felt the support team's email queue get larger.
I'm going to bring up this question regarding ISBNs because I think other authors may have the same question.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, William. He asks, does DDD Print now require that authors to submit an ISBN that differs from the ISBN used at Amazon? I'm referring to ISBNs brought by the author or bought by the author.
So technically, William, if you're publishing it directly to Amazon and then you're using us to get it distributed, our partner distributes everywhere. So it will get, I promise you, it will get rejected by Amazon because they already have it. But who cares? It's already on Amazon directly. Haha, you win. Now, if you used extended distribution on Amazon, it would have put it into Ingram's database as owned by Amazon or being published by Amazon. Therefore, you have to do a lot of manual work to request from Amazon to remove it from extended distribution, and then request through an email to us to also switch the vendor of record over to us. It can be done, but it's very, very difficult. So if you haven't done extended distribution, it's pretty much a walk in the park, and it is very confusing. I understand that. So what I strongly encourage you to do, William, is please just email and ask support and give us as much information up front as you can, so we understand what it is we're answering. Because if we don't know if it's extended distribution or not, it's going to be a bit of a different answer. And that's Amazon's extended or pretended distribution that I'm referring to. It's not as easy as ebooks, unfortunately.
And honestly, in terms of you can always just put a different ISBN on that new printing with us. It is another option, and it is something that will give you a little bit less in the terms of headaches. There are fewer hoops to jump through. I don't know why at minute 44 I'm suddenly losing the ability to speak, but yeah, no. So that is always an option. But otherwise, there are ways to change the vendor of record. If you work with our support team, we keep pointing to our support team, but it's because they're great. So if there are solutions, they're going to be able to find them for you.
Okay. And in the last minute here, I wanted to at least take a few seconds to mention the migration update, or give it a quick update on the Smashwords Draft2Digital merger, the Smashwords migration over into the Draft2Digital system. Mark, you're over there laughing because I'm also tripping over my words here. But gosh, a shout out to our development team, because these guys have been working so hard since the acquisition to kind of try to eliminate every wrinkle, try to eliminate any speed bump with migrating Smashwords authors over into Draft2Digital. We are now beginning that process of sending authors over. So there have been now several hundred Smashwords authors who have been sent over into Draft2Digital. Things are going fairly well, or really well. So we're kind of slowing that down now during the holidays. And then once the holidays are over, we're going to open that faucet up again to get more of you guys over from Smashwords into the Draft2Digital system. So it's all happening. So my team, any last minute comments that you would like to make about 2023 before I start doing the closing links and stuff?
Yeah, no, it's been another wonderful year. This job, working with authors, helping authors find their success, it's incredibly fulfilling. And a huge part of that is what our authors bring into Draft2Digital. We literally wouldn't be here without you. So all of our success this year is success that we share with you. So thank you for everything.
Awesome. Anybody else, Mark or Nick?
I think Lexi,
I don't know if you can
wrapped it up beautifully.
Am I messing it up? And I don't know if my voice is coming through, but we can't do anything.
No, you're actually
without authors.
You're fine right now.
Good.
Well,
thank you. I like being.
All right. As we come to a close, we want to remind you to please be sure to bookmark dddlive.com so you can be kept abreast of what's coming up in subsequent weeks, who the guests are, what the topic will be, what we'll talk about. Also, for each of these episodes, it really helps us out when you like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that helps us spread the word. It helps put more visibility on Draft2Digital, and it helps us attract more industry luminaries out there to help give their expert advice to you. And then finally, if you are an aspiring author and you haven't yet signed up for an account, a free account at Draft2Digital, why not do so today? Simply by going to draft2digital.com. Mark, Lexi, Nick, and all of you out there in cyberspace land, out there on the socials, we want to wish you a very happy holiday season. We really appreciate you joining us here on Self-Publishing Insiders. We want to extend a sincere Happy New Year to you and your loved ones. For Draft2Digital and my teammates here, thank you so much. I want to say goodbye to Nick's dogs and my dog too, who's now outside barking as well. Thanks so much, folks. We'll see you here next week. Take care, everybody.
Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created DDD Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at Draft2Digital.com.